Sure. Ooh, it feels cool in here too.
It is nice.
I don't understand this at all. Not at all.
Do you want to put that in the bag so we don't lose it?
Alright everyone, good morning and welcome aboard the General Bailey. We are now embarking on our 2-hour, 10-mile round trip tour along the scenic Upper Dells, the Wisconsin River, with our 2 land stops, one at the beautiful Witches Gulch and one at Sandrock, where you'll get to see the amazing jumping German Shepherd of Juneau County. Now before we get going too far on the river, just a quick little check of how you guys are doing. Bob Deck, how's it going down here? Alright, I'll take that. Back deck, can I get a little wave back there? Awesome. Top deck, I can't really hear or see you guys, so if you just want to give a little tap to your feet to make sure you're still up there. Awesome. Well, my name is Maddie, and I'm going to be your tour guide out here today. This is my second season out here on the boats. I just finished up my junior year here at the Wisconsin Dells High School, so this fall I will be a senior. But other than that, I'm a lifelong local here to the Dells, so if you guys have any questions about the river or about the area, feel free to ask. And if I don't know, I'm really good at making stuff up. But with that, I'll pass the mic off to our pilot, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about himself and the rules.
Well, thank you, Maddie, and I also would like to welcome you folks on board the General Bailey. As far as rules and regs goes, pretty simple. We would ask, smoking on board the vessel, which includes vaping and e-cigarettes. Courtesy to your fellow passengers, there is a designated smoking area at our shore landing at the Witches Gulch. For the most part, remain seated when the boat is in motion. If you wish to stand momentarily, take a picture of a rock formation, something like that, you're welcome to do so. But then please return to your seats again as soon as possible. This is, of course, for your own safety, so you don't block anyone else's view. One hard and fast rule, and that is don't throw anything in the river. You're welcome to have food or drink on board the vessel with you. There's refreshment stands at our shore landing. Just use the garbage cans. There's garbage cans on the boat, garbage cans on the docks. Everybody knows how to use a garbage can. Use the garbage cans. Boat, dock, and especially the river as clean as possible. Now, the Wisconsin River that we're traveling on today does freeze over our right and ahead of us. You can see first off charter and fueling docks. Our largest vessel is the Clipper Winnebago. That's the big white double-decker over there. It's the one we use for our dinner cruise during the summer months. It was my baby for 24 years. Farther on up, the bus dock and then the dry dock area. Our conventional vessels come out on a cradle and winch system. You can see a couple of the cradles Down at the water's edge, there's railroad tracks extend down into the water about another 50, 60 feet. We load the cradle down in the water, try to boat over top of it, carefully position it, and then pull the whole thing back out of the river. If everything goes right, that process takes about 20 minutes. You can see one of our jet boats over on the bus dock there. That's the blue boat over there, lightweight aluminum plating hulls, 8.2 liter Vortec engines, Hamilton jet drives. Splash zoom, get you soaking wet, spin around, polish tops. Great fun on a hot day. Anyway, that dry dock over there is where we store the vessels during the winter months. And that's where all the grinding and painting and scraping and sandblasting and wrench twisting and bilge cleaning, grinding and painting and scraping and sandblasting and grinding and painting and scraping and sandblasting and grinding and painting and scraping and sandblasting and all that other good stuff that goes along with the glamorous, carefree life of a boat captain. Those of you that have your own vessels, you know what I'm talking about. A little bit about myself. I'm the 5th generation of my family to work on the Wisconsin River, going all the way back to the lumber rafting days. I've been working on boats professionally since 1972, licensed by the United States Coast Guard since 1977. I presently hold a 100-ton master's ticket. In addition to 32 seasons on my own waters here, as I said, 24 years as captain of the Clipper. I was also the last steamboat captain on the Wisconsin River, worked on the Apollo #2 back in the late 1970s. Fishing guide on the lake out in Yellowstone National Park.
High Rock. And directly across from High Rock, coming up off to our left-hand side there, you'll see that cliff standing ironically 10 feet taller than High Rock. That one is known as Romance Cliff. Romance Cliff and High Rock Lake is known as the Jaws of the Upper Dells. And mark the spot in the river that is the very deepest at 110 feet, and marked in conjunction of 4 different counties: Adams, Columbia, Joe, and Sauk. So you can officially say you've been 4 places at one time. And also coming up off to our right-hand side here, you'll see a rock standing by itself that looks kind of like a stack of pancakes. Maybe it's just me, I might be a little hungry, but that is not a stack of pancakes rock. That is Chimney Rock, as it is said to resemble an old stick and mortar chimney. It is the second most photographed rock formation out here on the Upper Hills. For our next rock formation, you may have to use your imagination just a little bit for this one. If you take a look directly in front of the boat and going to be to our right-hand shoreline here, you'll see a giant slab of flat rock coming up. If you can use your imagination to see a face in that rock, with the part jutting out being a nose, the slit above is an eye, and the slit below as a mouth. Alright, look up to the right-hand side, both down water. Notice that color real quick. Yep, it is the same exact color. Beautiful brown. Now the water gets this brownish color not because it is muddy or dirty, but because of a substance known as tannic acid. This tannic acid comes from the tamarack swamps and tamarack trees in those swamps in the northern part of the state where this river runs through. Now don't be fooled, this tannic acid is not harmful in the least. In fact, you can probably consume it today. It is found in most coffees, teas, dark colored beverages like Coke and Pepsi, the bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey I polished off just before we left the dock. That one is a joke, of course. I'm only 17. Now, all the different rock formations you guys are going to be seeing out here today are all made up of the same kind of rock. They are all made of what's known as Potsdam or Cambrian sandstone. Now, the sandstone is extremely fragile. You could actually take a piece of it, crumble it between your fingers, and it would turn back into the sand that it formed from. It's also only found 4 places in the world: Potsdam, Germany, where it gets its name, Zurich, Switzerland, upstate New York, and right here in Wisconsin Dells being the largest deposit. Now, in these rocks, you'll see a lot of different colors like oranges, yellows, tans, and even a few reds. Now, these all come from the different minerals found inside the rocks, like zinc, iron, copper, lead, manganese, and many more, giving all the nutrients these trees need to grow. Joe will do a quick spin around here so that the people on the other side of the boat can see it just as well. A little caution, if you're going to take a picture, I recommend holding on to your cameras and phones tightly. I learned that lesson the hard way my second day of work last year. Just tried it this morning for breakfast and it wasn't very good. First one, you'll see another one, similar shape, similar size, also jutting out on Black Hawks Island with that slow no wait sign on it. Now these are what's known as the twin sisters. First one here, her name is Kate. Second one, her name is Duplicate. And of course, if there was a third, she'd be Triplicate. And of course, if they were guys, first one would be Pete. Second one, said if the first one, if they were guys, first would be Pete. Second one, he'd be. What I said was, if they were guys, first one would be Pete, and the second one, he'd be George, as I was trying to say. Sorry, Top Deck. Bottom Deck wanted me to keep repeating myself. Now coming up all to our right hand side here, you'll see a little cove tucked back into the rocks. And it is wine in this area. Now back in the 1800s, way before Wisconsin was known for its beers, cheese, and of course the Green Bay Packers, you were actually known for the lumber industry. Back then, lumber would be cut up in the northern part of the state, run down the river into mills, and from there, it'd be tied up into lumber rafts, and men called lumber raftsmen would run them along the river until they could be sold. Now along their journey, the hardest part of those lumber raftsmen journey by far was here in the Narrows, mostly because of the 90-degree turn coming up directly in front of the boat. Now back then, water was moving a lot faster through here, as the water levels were about 20 feet lower than they are today. The water levels raised when the dam was built in 1908. So many times once those lumber rafts got up here to this 90-degree turn, nicknamed the Devil's Elbow, the current would catch those lumber rafts and throw them into the rocks on the right-hand side of the boat, losing lots of lumber and even some lives. Now this is suit along the river here. He had quite a bit of confidence in himself and his job. And his motto was he would never lose any lumber or life. And he held very true to that. And he also left us what we like to consider the very first business card out here on the river. It'll be coming up off to our left-hand side, past where these rocks are jutting out, in this little cove tucked back here. On the right wall of this cove, you will see an inscription in the rocks, about 8 feet above the water, just under the darkest band of rock there, that reads Leroy Gates, Dells and River Pilot from 1849 to 58, off to our left-hand side at this time. It is a little hard to see right now, but I will point out again on our way back as well. I'll show you a picture of it later on in the guidebooks that I'll pass out later. Now, I mentioned Leroy Gates never lost any lumber or life, but he did lose his job when the railroad company came to town. The lumber raftsmen decided to take the railroads instead of the river, as it was much safer for them to transport their lumber. Now, Leroy Gates did not spare in this. In fact, he started a new business out here, known as the Dells Boat Tours. Sound familiar? I hope so. You're riding on them today. Now, back then, his motto was way different than ours today. You'd give him 2 bits, and he would give you 2 oars. You'd have to row yourself and him up and down this river for anywhere between 4 and 8 hours. Is the Juliet, and their pilot's name is Vanessa. It's actually her birthday today. So when I say 3, we're all going to shout, "Happy birthday, Vanessa." All right? 1, 2, and 3. Happy birthday, Vanessa! It is not actually her birthday today. Her tour is probably very confused. Do I see him? Oh wait, that is not a crocodile. That is our rockodile. Nothing? Sorry guys, that one's mandatory. There are no actual crocodiles or alligators out here on the river. However, there is quite a bit of wildlife. There are 37 species of fish in this water. Many different birds that fly around, many insects, white-tailed deer, foxes, coyotes, rabbits, and even a few bears. There is a natural deterrent to bears. All you gotta do is go to your local Home Depot, get yourself a can of clear white paint, and grab yourself a 3-inch paintbrush. Once you get home with that, just take that paintbrush in that white paint and Chris, $20 bill. This is a family tour, ladies and gentlemen. And if they don't want that $20 bill, I'll happily take it up front here. You can even get a hug because gas is not cheap. And coming up onto our right-hand side here, you'll see a set of stairs. I am many times asked, where do those stairs go? Well, they don't go anywhere. They stay there all year. Now, they do lead up to Chula Vista Resort. Chula Vista actually translates to mean beautiful view, and as you'll see as we come out of Lover's Lane, they do have quite a beautiful view out here on the river. Now, 100 years ago, this actually wasn't the case. In fact, about 100 years ago, all of this land along the river here was developed into homes and businesses. Now, a man by the name of George Crandall came to town and this made him very upset. So what he did is 5 minutes away from our first land stop at Witches Gulch, and I didn't quite get all the way through the vote for questions, so I will be around momentarily to answer any of those. Witches Gulch, our first shore landing. Now, Witches Gulch gets named from the very first man to explore back here, Henry Hamilton Bennett, or H.H. Bennett. Now, he had no way to get all the way back here in the summertime, so he waited until winter and ice skated all the way back there from downtown Wisconsin Dells. And when he skated back there, he thought he could see faces in the rocks, with the parts jutting out being noses of witches. So, as such, he named it Witches Gulch. Now, as I mentioned, this is going to be our very first shore landing here. Now, a couple things to note here. First of all, he's about a 2-block walk. 2 blocks in, 2 blocks out on the same flat boardwalk. If you decide you don't want to walk, that is perfectly fine. You can stay back here on the boat. Joe will be staying back here to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And if you decide at any point to turn around and come back to the boat, that is also fine. We'll be coming back out the same way that we go in. Alright, now we are approaching our next land stop here at Stand Rock. Now this walk is a little bit different than our last one. If you take a look off in front of you, you will see 2 different docks over there off in the distance a little bit. There is one towards the left a little bit, and one off to the right a little bit more. We're going to be initially docking to the one farthest to the right there. From there, we'll head up to a small amphitheater. I'll give a short presentation about Stand Rock, and you'll see the amazing jumping German Shepherd of Juneau County. And from there, we'll head up to a concession stand, souvenir shop, and restroom area. And we'll continue on that path until it brings you back to the other dock here, where Joe will have the boat waiting for us. So you will not be retracing your steps at any point. If you do retrace your steps, there will not be a boat waiting for you. So please do not retrace your steps at any point. Also, please note that there is no railing on a portion of this dock, on either side of these docks here. That is only so we can dock in different water levels. So once again, if you guys have anything of value, any irresponsible husbands or little children, just make sure to hold on tightly. And once as we come to dock here, please stay seated and keep everything inside the boat as we dock. I'll let you know when it's safe to stand up and come ashore, but until then, please stay seated. And once again, once you return to the boat, please take your same seats. But other than that, enjoy Stand Rock.
Hang on just a second here, folks. Just get the boat tied up.
You know why? Personal error. Yeah. Certainly. Funny mentions. Turn it up like that. Good luck, guys.
Just have fun.
That's right.
Well, there is, but like that.
Have some patience.
Goofballs, we were seeing it.
All right, I think we're already down here. Whoa!
He comes back.
As you can tell, he loves his job and he gets paid in lots of treats. In fact, that's how they pay all of us. All right, now at this time, we're going to be taking the right-hand path or the concrete path up to the concession stand, souvenir shop, and the S-Strip area. Just past that are some really up-close rock formations you'll see. We do ask that you please do not stand on, jump on, climb on, or touch any of these rocks. As I mentioned before, they are extremely fragile, and we'd like to preserve them for future generations. So please refrain from any contact with the rocks. If you do want to take the left hand towards the path or the boardwalk, it is just a short swim.
Very good.
Next page I'll have you flip to is page 14. On page 14 there, you'll see a picture of the Leroy Gates inscription. It's a very clear picture compared to what you'll see today. Once again, it reads Leroy Gates, Dalles and River Pilot from 1849-58. And again, I will put it out again on our way back as well. So you can go ahead and take another look at that when we head back downriver here. And then next page I'll have you flip to.
Upstream cradles. When we pull the clipper out, we don't do that every year. That takes our entire maintenance crew a full week to get that boat up and out of the water. Again, for 25 years when I was captain, the whole part of it. You can see the skids that we use for that. The permanent skids are on land just below the upstream cradle, and the floating skids are on either side of that jet boat ramp there. We coat the skids with biodegradable grease, girdle the boat fore and aft, drive it over. We attach the floating skids right at water level. You can see the end of the permanent skids there. And get the boat on the floating skids sideways. Then we attach 5 purchase shivs with 1.5-inch cable on them. That gets hooked up to a couple of tractors, and we pull the whole thing up out of the water sideways. Then the fun begins. We put 4 30-ton jacks underneath it, pick the whole thing up about 5 feet, and crib it up with timbers. As we're doing that, imagine the world's largest, most dangerous game of Jenga, with 120,000 pounds of steel over the top of your head while you're doing it, and your Jenga pieces are 5 foot long, 12 by 12s. And a bumper crop of sandburrs grows over there as well. It's as much fun as you can imagine. Anyway, the boat was built in 1922 down at the Butte Boat Boiler Works, brought up on the train in pieces. It was actually assembled at our dry docks here in Wisconsin, welded and riveted together. She was originally a paddle wheel steamboat, boiler and steam engines on the stern, paddle wheel hanging off the back. There was a third deck where the pilot house was. And in 1948, they dry docked it, reconfigured it, relaunched in, I believe, 49 or 50. Twin 671 Detroit's in it right now. She's a good old beast. She's 100 years old this year. I can say for 24 years. It's a nice big girl over there.
And once again, you'll see the Joliet coming up. Now, this is when you know your time management skills are awesome, because you got the best looking boat with the best looking crew. And as we come around the corner here, you take a look off in front of the boat and above the water there, you'll see a steel railroad bridge coming up. Now, that is not the very first one built in that spot. The very first one was built out of wood. Not the smartest idea. It lasted a little while, but eventually some sparks caught from a passing train. It did burn down. Second time they decided, you know what, let's build it out of wood again. Again, not the smartest idea, but eventually also did burn down. Third time they finally got smart and built it out of steel. And as you can see, it is steel there. And as our docks and boats come back into view, that does mean our time together is coming to a close. On behalf